G'day folks, Jason here from Positive Real Estate and welcome along to the Friday email from some tips and some strategies. Today I want to talk about cash flow. Cash flow is king. And hey, right now the interest rates have come right down and for most of us that's a very, very exciting time. Not only is there going to be some growth in the very near future because new people are entering the marketplace, cash flow is going to be high. And with low interest rates and high rents at the moment, that cash flow is very, very attractive to a lot of people. But hey, as a property investor, the cash flow is very important for us to keep our portfolio going. How do we make sure that cash flow continues to come into our pocket and for us to be able to continue to move forward as investors, healthy incomes to show the lenders that we can continue to borrow and build our portfolio as we all want to as property investors. We might want to buy 5, 6, 8, 10 properties, and what's going to hold you back in the first instance is cash flow, or what we call serviceability. So let's have a look at the two types of cash flows where as property investors we chase and we analyze our property deals on. Now a lot of people get confused when we talk about cash flow. People talk about positive cash flow, and I'll just put positive CF. Now positive cash flow is very, very important and for us to understand what the reality of positive cash flow is. Now in the investing world, we need to understand what the difference is between positive cash flow before tax and positive cash flow after tax, okay? And this is very important as a property investor because often we see lots of properties that are out in the marketplace and they may suit us, but we need to analyze our cash flow before tax. Now, most properties in Australia, if you wanted a positive cash flow before tax property, which means that the rent coming in, let's say the rent that comes in into that property was $100 and your expenses were $80, okay? $100 and $80. So then you would be $20 positive cash flow. Now those expenses need to include the interest, all of the rates, insurances, and costs associated with owning that property before tax. Now often in Australia, to find a property that's before tax positive cash flow is very challenging in the right location. Many places, if you want to chase this type of return, you're going to be going into mining towns, places with one economy, and they carry a certain different risk profile to many people that they want to be exposed to. One industry, one place to invest in. Usually, sometimes they're smaller towns. Now, that's not always the case, but that definitely has a higher proportion of before-tax cash flow properties. Now, at Positive Real Estate, we've worked with clients with these types of properties before. But our primary working with our clients is mostly in the after-tax cash flow position. When we have a property and it is before tax a bit negative, let me show you this as we go here. Positive cash flow. Before tax it's a bit negative. $100 of rent comes in. The expenses are $110. So that's the expenses are $110. So we're negative $10 cash flow. All right, negative $10. Most people then would apply their tax deduction, their tax break, to then get a refund against their income. It's called a PAYG variation. If you don't know what that's about, you need to chat to one of the experts. A PAYG variation, and they get $20 back out of their tax. So now this property is actually positive $10 after tax. And when we talk to our investors, it's an important thing for us to understand what type of property we're targeting for what purposes. And at the moment, at Positive Real Estate, we're doing some fantastic things. You may have seen our emails come out with dual income properties. 2 income streams on one piece of real estate. Granny flats in New South Wales. In many places around the country, we're finding little development sites and duplex sites and building 2 dwellings, 2 income streams, and you're getting 6.5%, 7%, 8% rental yields on these brand new properties around Australia. So not only is your cost of money, which is let's say 6% at the moment, your rent coming in might be 6.5 or 7% rent coming in, you are getting closer to positive cash flow property before tax in much better locations at the moment. And so that's something, when you come along to the property information night this month, we'll show you and we'll talk to you about the locations and the ways we put together these property strategies and these property deals to get you the right outcome. Often people say, do I need positive cash flow in my portfolio? And the answer will be different for everyone. If you're a high income earner, you probably won't want to go and chase high cash flow out in a mining town. You'll probably want a better located property, blue chip, for your tax deductions and long-term capital growth. Okay, so make sure you come along to our property information nights around the country, and you'll meet up with our professional coaches there who'll take you through some very, very important conversations and ideas about when you look at property. Do you need pre-tax positive cash flow? Do you need after-tax positive cash flow? And how you put that together in a strategy to get you the best financial outcome as a property investor. Hopefully that was interesting today. The information will be better at the information night, so make sure you get yourself along, bring a friend. Until then, take care. Bye for now.